Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be discussing my budgeting system. If you'd like to learn more, please continue to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So the first place I'd like to start is with my secondhand small ring agenda. I got this off the RealReal, and one of the things I love about the RealReal is, you know, if you like a certain brand, but you don't want to pay retail prices, you can get it and buy it secondhand. This is better than shopping for me in the Goodwill stores. So this is my wallet, and the first thing you'll see in my wallet is my debit card. I have my ID card behind it. I have my Costco card and my health insurance card for me and my family. I typically don't carry a lot of cash around, so I will literally have less than $20 for my personal use. So 5, 6, 7. Today I have $7, and typically I keep it in this little slot here. The next part of my agenda is my cloth and paper inserts, and if you've seen my last planner video, you'll know that I'm a big fan of their stuff, and I usually buy the 3 tab, and that's what, just to keep consistency and to keep organized, that's usually what I have. I'm also a big fan of motivational quotes. So this one is from Samuel Goldwyn, and it says, "The harder I work, the luckier I get." In the next section is my calendar, and if you've seen in my last video, I tend to just put dots on those areas where I'm getting paid. So I have a couple of different income streams other than my full-time job, and so I try to make sure that they are noted in my calendar. So the next part is my finance tab, and in my finance tab I will make paper copies of my paycheck and just put them in these frosted tabs. So I have this paycheck, this is my regular paycheck, as well as I have my second paycheck, which from my part-time work. In this section, I write down my physical budget, and so this is my updated budget. Last time I made this was June 25th, 2020, and I only get paid twice. I get paid the 1st and the 15th. So if you take a look, you'll see the 1st and the 15th highlighted. I do have, you know, my mortgage. I have window payment, property tax, tuition. I might owe the IRS a bunch of money, so I budget for that. My student loan, groceries, SoFi, and cable are all in here. So I definitely, streaming, I do have streaming services, and I typically put them in here. Allowance, I discussed that in my other video. Allowance is, I give myself $50 and my kids get $50. So what I find is that, you know, you have to be adjusting over the course of the year, over the course of the weeks, your budget based on what your needs are. And so this is why between May 1st and June 25th, I have 2 different budgets. Moving on, I qualified for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and when I qualified for that, this is the repayment plan. So thank you, President Biden. I really appreciate you hooking us up. In this next section, I have, this one's called Moolah, and again from Cloth and Paper. And this section, I typically, these are where I keep a ton of cash. Some of the cash is my cash to play around with, others is not. So this one, deposit in particular, deposit is, my children get $50 for allowance. Every time I get paid, I only get paid 2 times a month. And so between the 2 of them, it's $25 a piece. And what ends up happening is I give them $5 and I deposit their $20 in their kids savings account. Capital One has a really nice one, so that's where I keep their money. The $10 behind it is for a different deposit, and it's related to my taxes. So that is also deposited at Capital One. I have an account for just my taxes there, and so that is where I keep that. Emergency fund, I used to keep more money in my emergency fund when I drove a car. Now I keep enough to get me into like a taxi or something if the trains aren't running. And so this is 2010 and 5, so it's $35. And this is about as much as I have in my Uber, well, my emergency. And it could be any emergency. Typically, though, I find that it's usually related to public transportation. So I try to make sure I have an emergency fund for that. That being said, though, the emergency could be anything. And typically, it's related to food as well. So, but I try to keep a little money in here for emergencies. Miscellaneous, I just dropped off my clothes at the dry cleaner, so this is where I keep my receipts. This is the only receipt I have right now. So this is what I keep in my miscellaneous. And I just wanted to say shout out to Ari for creating these cash envelopes for me. I watch her regularly on YouTube. On my personal account, and so I saw her cash envelopes and I love them, and I went onto her Etsy site and I asked her to create these in purple for me, purple for royalty and things like that. I love colors, and I try to make sure I'm very meaningful about the color choices I make. And so thank you, Ari Budgets, for making these, and I got them within less than 2 weeks. So I just wanted to say thank you and just tell everybody where I got these. So the next envelope is tax set aside 1, and the tax set aside 1 is for my IRS repayment that I have to make. And my daughter reminded me from my last video that she could barely see some of what I had written. And so I'm just like, okay, let me just make a more intentional move to just show everything. So currently, I've made 2 payments so far. My bill is about $7,000 that I owe the IRS. So right now, in my savings account, or in the account that I use for my IRS, I have $1,202. And typically what I try to do, because I want to use my envelope, I keep less than $50 balances in my envelopes. So I track and what it's going to take to get me in the black with the IRS is $490 every pay period. So that's what I keep adding. Originally I started with a crazy number. I don't know where I got that from, but now I'm stuffing these correctly and I'm saving the right amount. So it's $490. This next one is personal. Personal I tend to use for me or my kids if something pops up and things like that. So in here, I again don't typically use too much money, and it's only $15 in personal. I try to get it to $100 so that it's stuffed all the time at $100, but it doesn't always work out because I really do use this account. And I do track it. So I started back in December with this particular tracker, and it was a $60 balance. And, it's fluctuated over the months because I've used and I've purchased different things. So, Chinese, personal, Amali, that's my daughter, ski trip, hair, Zoo's hair, takeout. So you'll see a whole bunch of different, and so sometimes I'll note what the description and why I'm spending it, but I've zeroed out a few times on this envelope. So right now I'm at 15. That's my latest, and so that's where I'm at. Next section is purchases. I do try to track my purchases, the amount of money I spend on a daily basis. And so you'll see them color coded a lot of times. Because I get paid every 2 weeks, I track them per paycheck. And so I really try to make sure that I am staying within the guidelines of my budget. It works out sometimes, but it doesn't work out too often. And so I've been tracking my purchases, and you can tell this is from Happy Planner. Still love my girls. And I utilize a whole bunch. I try to make sure I calculate the amount of purchases, and sometimes I'm very meticulous, or started being very meticulous about tracking what I spent on food, what I spent on me, what I spent on utilities, what I put in my swear jar, what I spent on takeout and stuff like that. But it doesn't always, I'm not always so diligent about it, but I will track. I started off the year, you know, New Year's resolution, and then, you know, as the year went, it kind of petered off, but I still kept, you know, a track of my purchases for every 2 weeks. They're very thin, but you see them, and this is obviously from my cotton paper. And if you watch my previous video with my planner, you know I'm a big fan of these transparent tags. And so just tracking, and I keep tracking. And again, I try to color code them you know, whichever 2 weeks. So this one is pink, next one is yellow, then I chose blue. But yeah, so this is how I track. Now I'm in yellow. Like I said, I just went to the dry cleaners. I withdrew $60 from my checking account, and I paid $22.30. So I would highlight the $60 using my highlighter, and I would not highlight the $22.30 because it's coming out of that $60. So that's pretty much how I have 3 sheets left, and I have no intention of buying any until I use up the ones in my planner. So pretty much that's that for how I purchase. So the next section is taxes, set aside 3. And again, that is for any irregular income that I have. Most of the time it's per session. That's what my job calls overtime. Right now I have $1,510 in an account that I set aside just for taxes, and this is the $10 because I like to utilize my envelopes. I could put the entire money in there, but I don't. And so I do like some element of cash stuffing. It looks very fun to me. And so I really do enjoy doing some elements of it, not all of it. So right now I have $1,510, and in both accounts for both taxes, I had made a note back in June that this is the amount that I have in that account. And lo and behold, I do have $1,700 there. So other things, just making a note of my daughter's tuition, just making a note of how much I owe in property tax and when the due dates are. So this is my notes and wish, and then 2 of them. And back in February, I tried to put a little reminder to myself of what asset is and what the liability is. And so assets puts money in my pocket, quick and dirty definition, and liabilities take money out of my pocket. So while I do have my wish list, I really have to be very conscientious about how I spend my money. And so I'm in a headspace right now where I'm only looking at asset-based items, and if it's not asset-based items, I'm not interested in it. So again, the wish list is here, but whether or not I'll act on it is something different. Finally, I do have this as a page lifter for the back, so this page don't get janky. And this is my COVID card. I really I live in New York City, so we're very strict here about vaccinations, and also for work. So I do carry my card around in addition to my booster information in this that I got from Amazon. And so I'm really a fan of making sure I work with young children who did not originally qualify for vaccination. So I wanted to keep them, myself, and my family safe. Okay, so this is my wallet, my secondhand wallet, my secondhand planner that I use as a wallet. Moving on to my change purse. This is from Coach. I got it last year at the outlet. Everything pretty much I buy at the outlet or secondhand. And so this is my little Coach change purse. See here, it's got a ton of change in there. On the inside, it's just got so much quarters, and this button is from a coat that it fell off, and I keep meaning to sew it back on, and very handy that way. And so here's my Metro card. I do have the annual one, so I really try to make sure I'm very, so it comes out of my paycheck, which saves me a ton of money on a Metro card. This is one of my business cards that I give out to people. I keep my driver's license in the back of this one because this wallet, believe it or not, goes everywhere. And then when I was at the outlet, they had these little shishkas, and I kind of like it, so I got it. It was on a deep discount, which is very typical for me. I don't buy things retail very often. And then in this one keeps my dollar bills, so I have them there, and I keep them there. I never spend them, so it's just always here. The dimes and the nickels and the pennies that I typically get when I get change, when I pay for things in cash, gets taken out of here and moved into our little saving containers. So next we have our sinking funds planner, and this is Dooney Bourke. I've had this for a very long time. There's an old story about it. I originally gave this to my boss as a Christmas present. She's not a planner person, so she kept it in her office for the entire time. And I said to her, gee, if you're not using the planner, can I have it back? And so she was gracious enough to give it back. Listen, closed mouth don't get fed. This is one of the first sinking fund envelope I made for myself. And I just cut out pictures from off of, I printed some pictures and cut them out and made this sinking fund wallet. And I'm so proud of it. I keep it in the front. And so what's in here are my $2 bills. So I have 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm crap at counting money. So I just, you know, the same the denominations are, the better it is for me. So I keep them here. This next section is my $5 challenge section. And the last time I checked was back in June. I had approximately $1,900 in here. And so I don't typically keep any cash in here, but I do record the $5. And what I end up doing with this $5, these $5 challenges, is putting it into a SoFi account. I love watching some of my favorite people with like the ton of money and them counting the cash and all of that. I just think it would, for me, makes better sense because I can't count money very well. So what ends up happening is, you know, I put it in an investment account with SoFi, and so that's where my $5 challenge money is. So I don't have like $130 worth of $5 just sitting here in my mattress losing fun. And Marco Whiteboard, who I watch all the time, he was like, cash is for losers. That doesn't mean that you're an actual loser. You're just not making your cash work for you. If you're going to put it in the bank, or you're going to, well, now you can put it in the bank because interest rates are going up. If you're not going to be aggressive about how you utilize that money. So I have about 21 different categories, and all I stuff is $5 bills. And so, for example, books is $60. I already hit that benchmark back in March. And so this one's complete. So all I do with that $5 is that I add it to one of the other envelopes. And so I do have a car maintenance, which I put as $1,500. But like I said, I don't have a car anymore. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this envelope as yet, but, you know, I have it here stuffing away. In the back, in my other video, I talked about Dave Ramsey, and while I don't love the messenger, I do love the message. And so in here is my emergency fund. It's been here forever, and it's $500 because I feel as though having $1,000 just lying around, again, under the mattress, you know, is just insane to me. So I keep $500 in cash, and I try to break them up into denominations that could work for my family if we do need, you know, access to an emergency money. I've really never had an opportunity to use this money because it's supposed to be break in case of emergency, but I keep it right here just so that you know, we have it just in case. My daughter, my oldest daughter, knows where this money is. My husband knows where this money is. So barring the worst, they would have immediate access to, you know, these funds. Behind it is, I keep track of all the accounts that I have. And so I'm not going to show you that section because that's where I have my actual account numbers on, and I keep the actual number value when I do my quarterly checks on my accounts. And in this economy right now, it's kind of like I don't want to ever look, so I haven't been looking at any of my investment portfolios because, you know, you don't want to get disheartened, but typically within 3 to 5 years you make it back. So now is the time to just deep breathe and keep calm. So that's what I'm doing. So this is this planner. Next, I'm going to show you this one, and it's not a planner, but it's just a box that has my 100 envelope challenge. And I created this obviously with my label maker. And in here, I'm doing a 100 envelope challenge. So it's not the typical 100 envelope challenge where you try to save like $1,000 or whatever $100 you 100 envelopes you want. You know, you could set it at pretty much anything you want. What I'm trying to do with this, and I have a couple of different things that I'm interested in using this money for, but in each envelope I put $100. So right now I have 7, and I tried to say where I got the $100 from. So this is like paycheck 715. This one is per session. That's what we call our overtime in my line of work. Again, per session, overtime. Again, this is paycheck 630. So I'm saving up this money. I'm on my 7th envelope right now. And so there's a $100 bill in each of these envelopes. And again, I'm feeling very antsy about it because, like I said, I don't like having loose money just not paying me any type of interest or dividend. But I'm going to deep breathe and keep calm and try this out. I don't know yet what this money is going to go for. I have a couple of different wish list items that I am trying not to be very liability about, but very much asset minded. And so this is my envelope challenge so far, and I'm doing it a little bit different than I would typically do it. And I got this box at my Dollar Tree that's in my neighborhood. So this is what I'm doing my 100 envelope challenge in. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope some of this information was useful to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video if you find it interesting. Have a good day, everybody.